Burnout is a real thing as an esthetician, and it can sneak up on you. And I know this because it happened to me. So I'm here today to share with you my own personal story when it comes to feeling burnt out and hitting a plateau and feeling stuck. I know I've been getting requested this topic quite a lot on my comments and then in person as I've met you guys throughout this year. And I wanted to make this a two-part series to address this because I think it's so important to be able to, number one, identify if you're burnt out, also to then address it or help to avoid it. So part one today is going to be about 3 signs you're burnt out as a solo esthetician. And then next week, I'm going to drop part 2 about how to address it, how to hopefully avoid it and keep yourself going in this industry, because that's the goal, right? Is to have a long and thriving career as an esthetician, especially if you open up a solo practice or you are a small business owner. You have to show up even more authentically and consistently for your clients and your audience. So I hope that this is helpful for you. Grab that pen and paper and let's get into it. Just a reminder, the applications for my Master Your Solo Practice series is still open and early bird pricing is set to end September 1st. So for more details, check out the description box below. I'm so excited to bring back this training. For those of you who maybe are tuning in for the first time to my channel, maybe didn't know that I offered in-person trainings before, but I started this program back in 2021 and was offering it for a couple years and have trained about 10 to 15 licensed estheticians with this program, and I have received such great feedback in regards to it. And so I've revamped it, brought it back, and I'm just so excited to meet more of you and teach and mentor more of you. The reason why I mention this, it does perfectly segue into this topic about burnout, because I did take a pause from the in-person trainings for a period of time, for about 2 years now. And the reason why is because there was a point that I reached that I had to ask myself, what can be cut out temporarily to keep myself going in this industry? And I wanted to talk with you very real in this video and share with you some things that I felt were happening that thankfully I was able to identify and then turn it around and get to a point where I'm feeling happy and healthy again. First sign I would say is mentally identifying first and foremost your thoughts and your emotions. Your emotions and thoughts are what I like to call your sixth sense. And I've always told you guys this in other videos, check in with yourself. Like, how are you feeling about your business and how are you feeling about where it's headed? If in any way it's feeling frustrating, tiring, or you're feeling like you're dragging yourself to work, you're not excited to see clients as much, or maybe clients that you used to be excited seeing start to annoy you, or you get that reschedule text and you start feeling like that anger and stress well up because you're like, oh, well, now I gotta reschedule them and I'm gonna lose money. And it's okay to even if you're not burnt out, to feel those things. But if it's on a level where you really are getting upset about it, and I will admit I found myself just getting so irritated and anxious whenever I would receive a text or an email from a client or a student, because I was just anticipating what could be going wrong because I just didn't want to deal with it, if that makes sense. Also just getting easily irritated with those around you, like your family, your children. I'll be real with you, I do feel like I was getting easily triggered. Found I had a very short fuse for people and people I was close with specifically, because we were more comfortable with people that we're close with and that we're related to. It's just how it works, just how us human beings are. So if you find yourself kind of being extra snappy, extra irritable, less patient, those could be signs something's going on inside. And then also just finding yourself having kind of a mental fogginess, functioning on autopilot. Maybe sometimes you're driving and you're just thinking about all the things you have to do and you forget where you're going. You get to your destination and you're like, I don't even remember the car ride here. I will say I've found myself starting to function on autopilot and finding myself driving places or doing things without even realizing I was doing it. Those are some signs that you could be getting burnt out. As I started to feel these things emotionally and in my mind, things started also popping up physically. Number 2, second sign would be physical sign. And this also, as I'm sure you guys can see this also can relate to mental health related things like depression, anxiety. Just know I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist. So consult with the professional if you do feel like you're dealing with any of this. I will say that I have been in therapy because of this, because I reached a point where it was not only affecting me mentally, but also physically. Wait till the end of the video so I can mention to you that third thing, because this is really where it got not fun. So physically, I would say the first thing that kind of started happening with me was my sleep. And you'll see with these examples that it could be on both sides of the extreme. So you could either be sleeping a lot and more frequently, or you could be losing sleep. And it could be a mixture of both. I would get home from work and I knew I had to get something done, but I just found myself laying on the couch and then like falling asleep. Literally, I had my son watching a movie. He was right next to me, and I would just put the covers over me and I would just nap for, who knows how long, like an hour or two. And then what I wanted to get done wasn't getting done. Then in the same way, I also was finding myself not being able to sleep for whatever reason, or you maybe get sleep, but then you wake up tired because you're not getting into that deep REM sleep. There's a whole science behind it. If you are waking up tired, more tired than when you went to sleep, that could be a sign that you're not getting that full rest. And then the insomnia is when you're actually like staying up. And for me, it's like my mind's just racing, thinking of what's coming and what has happened and just the tasks I had to do. And I found my heart beating really fast. That could be a telltale sign as well. Another thing that started happening was I was just starting to get nauseous. It was just this thing in my gut, in my core, that just felt like if I were to make the wrong move, I would literally probably hurl. And there is studies and proof out there that stress can definitely be related to a physical, like nausea or throwing up. I do feel this was a moment where I was like, something's going on, because I got sick, right? I was throwing up, stuff was coming out the other way too. Sorry if that's TMI, but I'm just trying to paint a picture for you here of how sick I was. And I remember after, like the day after, I remember telling my friend who was with me, even though I was super sick and I felt horrible, I was like, I almost feel like I needed that. And that was kind of a awakening moment for me, where I was like, that's not what I should be saying right now, that I feel good that happened, because it almost felt like I was able to release whatever it was that I was holding inside. I grew up just always keeping, it together, working hard. And so for those of you who maybe are similar, it probably won't be apparent to you until physically something happens, in the months to come. And those are things that I'm choosing to just keep private. But more happened after that I had to go to the doctor and get, medication and things like that. It was bad. And I'm sure some of you are like, what the heck? That's crazy. Like, it didn't even seem like that at all watching you, because I was able to just keep a straight face, keep going. And I was honestly trying to just continue to show up for you guys, but I was going through it. Another thing is, just constantly getting headaches, and just getting sick more in general, so if you find yourself getting more sick frequently, I was definitely finding myself just getting more sick, more susceptible to things, and it just was getting bad headaches. And also in the same way, loss of appetite, also overeating. So my weight was like fluctuating a lot, where I would go through periods where I was just like, I didn't feel like eating, and then periods of time where I wanted to eat a ton. Actual tense and soreness in my back and neck and shoulders and hands and wrists. So you will start feeling it physically. And I remember I'd gotten a massage from my girl Ashley, who you've seen on this channel before, who's a massage therapist. She did a massage on me one time, and she was working on my back specifically. And I could not hold back tears as she was working on my back. And this is something that, she's just so gifted at this. But when you get that physical touch in those areas, specifically, I've heard for women, we hold it more on our backs, and for men, they hold it more in their chest. So pay attention, if you're a man, to, how you're feeling in your chest, and if you're a woman, in your back and neck and shoulders. But I remember when she was working on my back, I just started crying, like could not help myself but tears were just coming out. That's how it started showing up for me physically. The third and final sign that I want you to pay attention to is, and I don't really know what to label this. I want to call it just maybe like habitual things start slipping, because like I kind of mentioned before, when you're physically going through it and mentally going through it, things just start slipping through the cracks. So finances are going to start to suffer. Your habits will start to suffer. You're not going to be, probably working out as much or as consistent with being physically active. You might find yourself going out and partying. I know that's been a struggle for me personally, of just drinking and being around company that it just feels like, we're just ignoring our problems. And then too, I found myself just wanting to just always get away. I just wanted to get away. I wanted to go on trips. And there's a healthy amount of wanting to get away and go on vacations and whatnot. But now that I've had kind of that healthy amount of traveling and where my mind is at now, and comparing it to where it was then, I realized I just wanted to get away. I just wasn't happy and enjoying my current routine, my current life. So if you find yourself just wanting to always get away, whether that is going on trips or partying or doing other things to just kind of distract yourself, that could be a sign. And then slowly but surely, you're going to start seeing your bank account dwindle. Time with loved ones in your relationships might suffer because of this. So burnout can definitely be tied to some mental things that, maybe you need to go seek help for. And I encourage you very, very much so to do that. I'll be mentioning that as well in the next video, but I wanted to drop that here because, you can't do this alone. You cannot do this alone, and I'm here for you. I hope that me sharing these things can help you to identify maybe, something that you've been kind of shoving down for a while. And it's just so important, if you want to have a long career in this industry, to face that head on and to then implement things that will help to avoid it from happening again or ever, because it is a very difficult place to be in. And I'm sad to say that I've had multiple seasons of this in my life, and each season I've had to learn to implement different strategies. And I will say that this time around in my life, I do feel like these practices and strategies have made a huge difference, more than ever, because I've gone through a lot before, but this time was different. And I hope you guys can see that. I think that's why people, when you are doing well and you are thriving, can see like a glow, or it's something not tangible that people can put their finger on that they want and they are drawn to. And so I hope you guys can see that there has been a change for me in a good way. And hopefully that more I share and the more I keep this balance going that I have, that I'll be able to continue showing up for you guys. So again, just keep in touch with me. Comment maybe where you're at. If any of these points hit home for you, be sure to like this video and share it with anybody that you feel it could be helpful for. And I'll see you guys in part 2, where I will be sharing some very important tips. So don't miss out on that. I love you so much. Take care and keep going.